Who transcended, that man who has touched the lives of over 150,000 people around the world. Let's give a hand as we play a recorded message from Stanley Tookie Williams himself.
Greetings to all of you. My name is Stanley Tookie Williams. I've been residing here on San Clemency's death row for over 24 years. Indeed, it is an honor to speak to this noteworthy audience today, not with a holier-than-thou sermon, but with a vital message that promotes transition and redemption. Admittedly, back in the day, I used to be my own worst enemy. Oftentimes, I engaged in personal battles of turmoil. I didn't know that to restore order with any conflict, be it internal or external, it begins with me. Being incarcerated akin to a caged animal, I inevitably had to challenge my existence with this simple self-analysis. Am I man or beast? It wasn't until I was in solitary confinement during 1988 to 1994 when I was able to answer that question. Gradually, my transformation began to develop from the discipline of serious soul-searching, education, spiritual cultivation, edification, and redemption. It was during that critical phase when I discovered my humanity. Henceforth, I chose the path of inflexible resistance, meaning I refused to allow the animalistic prison conditions, anyone or anything to define who I am. That's when I knew I was not a beast. For over a decade, I have developed an understanding that I've written and I'm obligated to share with all of you. The legitimacy of war is not with man. The nemesis is the enemy within oneself. To conquer this personal demon brings life. To be
anti-gang, anti-drug, anti-violence, and be a healer, not a predator. I feel good and changed. He said in our first meeting. He relished his new status in the world, his new feeling as a social transformer and not a race predator. I went back into San Quentin and shared with Barbara and him developed a position. He said to Barbara and Sister Neil, don't cry and don't give up. I've been here before.
So I felt like he didn't have a voice, so I wanted to put a voice on him and give him a voice so he could be heard. That's why I got involved. This piece right here I wrote is called Until We Meet Again. When we first met, you see the piece was planted. Through me, I tried to highlight it and make sure your clemency would be granted. I used to bang, but I didn't know what I banged for. They say my words to stop off, drop off, or potentially pop off a gang war. Food for thought is better than a meal. Until we meet again, I'm gonna stay real in the field. Until we meet again, I will better my oratory. Until we meet again, I will pass on your editorial. And through time, I will build my architectural mind and continue to let this little light of mine shine, shine, shine.
Man. Stan Tookie Williams is a man that somehow the majority of America never got a chance to know, because the description in the media was a man who lived many decades ago. Not a man who lives today in this room, not in a box, but in spirit and soul. What's a white boy doing here who's supposed to be a motivator talking about Stanley? I'll tell you why, because Stanley had one thing. There's a reason why from 2 in the afternoon to 10 at night, human beings came to see his body yesterday. There's a reason why we're all in this room. There's a reason why there are governors from around the world. Why 60,000 people in Italy wrote the governor. There's a reason why all these people have come here today to honor this one man who's supposed to be known for starting the Crips. And none of us came for that reason. Everybody came here because this man was love, and he still is. He's nothing but love. That's all Stanley was.
Taste of what's to come. What I promise to you, I promise to Barbara, I promise to Stan, is that when this film is done, like Snoop says, everybody's going to know about this. And the very first time, and many times over, people said they were inspired by Stan because of all he was doing, and they said, look what he's doing from death row. He's doing more from death row than we are doing on the outside, and that was the truth.
Greetings with a message to all of you. My name is Stanley Tookie Williams, and I've been residing on San Quentin's death row for more than 23 years. For those of you who do not know the definition of the word redemption, it simply means to right a wrong. In other words, when a person does something wrong, he or she must try to correct it.
Stan has had 5 Nobel Peace Prize nominations. He's written 10 books and has also had 4 nominations for the Nobel Prize in Literature.
I know that they already have a plan, they just don't have a voice. And I'm trying to be that voice.
And each find their niche. Some can do the letter writing. Some of us got to reach out for the politicians.
We're going to start an uprising to get the governor to grant Tookie Williams clemency.
I want to ask the governor, if you believe in rehabilitation, where else can we look at this case that truly to me is about a condemned man's remaking of himself?
Take that long walk because we took the first steps by coming here today.
I'm a strong believer in an eye for an eye will make the whole world blind.
He had done more in a cell on death row than some of us who are free.
We need Stan Tookie Williams, and that's why we have picked up this crusade, and that's why we know that he needs to live.
He's responsible for just giving us the idea, of how to even put a peace agreement together.
Stanley Tookie Williams' life should be saved and spared. He should receive clemency because saving Stan and keeping him alive saves lives. He's already proven that his good work is of value.
I just want to thank all of you again, and my love goes out to all of you. And I know that you will continue to strive forward to not only help me, but help other people who are in trouble. I know and I believe that all of you put together, united as one, can overcome any type of problem, any type of pathology in society. I believe that, and God bless.
Stan Williams, I'm going to continue to push for you. I love you, my brother. And we're going to keep it moving for you.
And then you let it go.
and then we let it go. We watched them let it go, and then came the most extraordinary decision.
He looked at me straight in the eyes and he went on to say, first and foremost, I'm innocent. There was no tangible evidence that linked me to the crime. All evidence was circumstantial.
He is too late. You should have presented all of this a long time ago. And I would agree. It should have been presented a long time ago. But it should never be too late to get justice. Stanley Williams' fight is about something much bigger than the life and death of one man. It is about the criminal justice system in this country, a system that is anything but fair. And just when I thought that I couldn't do this work anymore, I met Stanley Williams. He never gave up, and neither should we. His struggle will continue, his case will live on, and the truth will come out.
Nowadays is the greatest challenge you will ever have to face in life. I say to all of you that we are going backwards, not forward. Each time we initiate black-on-black brutality, black-on-black crime, black-on-black drug sales and usage,
and His goodness to all of the members of the human family. We thank Him for Moses and the Torah. We thank Him for Jesus and the gospel. We thank Him for Muhammad and the Quran. I am a student of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and I could never thank Allah enough for His intervention in our affairs, raising this man up to be a teacher, a leader, a guide, and a reformer of black people, that we might once again retain the original position that we had with God. As it is written, I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the ending. And we are a people that are the beginning of all civilization and the root of all human life. We thank God, and I greet each of you, my dear brothers and sisters, with the greeting words of peace. We say it in the Arabic language, Assalamu alaikum. To the mother, to the sister, to the son, to the family of our brother, Stan Tookie Williams, to the Reverend Dr. Louis E. Logan, to Minister Tony Muhammad, to Sister Barbara Becknell, and to all of those who had a part in this beautiful program concerning the victory of life of Stanley Tookie Williams. Eulogies in the Muslim tradition, we don't bother to give them because we're all here because we were touched by this man. But I feel greatly honored that Sister Barbara Becknell would ask me to give the eulogy for this mighty warrior for God, for peace, and for our people, and for humanity. Peace comes by submission to the will of God. This is the irrevocable will of God. Everyone that is born on this earth must at some time taste of death. The only way to escape this result is to never have been born. But since we were given the gift of life, at some point in time, we will ultimately taste of death. One of the attributes of God is that He is the life giver. Nobody gives life but that one supreme source of life. What we do with the life that He gives tells us who we are and whose we are. We have the power and the potential to become perfect reflections of Him who gave us life. But we also have the potential to degenerate into subhuman creatures that defile the gift of life and become dead spiritually and purveyors of death. I want to say to my dear brother Stan's mother, grieve not, my dear sister, because your womb produced a man that death cannot touch. Jesus said, fear not the man who can kill the body, but fear him who can kill both the body and the soul. They took the physical body of our brother, but his unconquerable soul is alive and well, and that is why we cannot break down in grief. We must celebrate the strength of a good life that God sent this way to teach us all some valuable lessons. I have tried to serve God all my life. But for the last 50 years of my life, a little over that, I've been trying to help the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to raise black men and women from a state of mental death and ignorance to transform our lives. I prayed that God would let Stan Tookie Williams live. So did Barbara. So did everyone sitting here. So did mom. So did son. So did daughter. We all prayed and asked God to spare his life. Well, we may wonder, why, God? Did you not answer our prayers? And to those of us who at this moment in time feel that sense of abandonment because it appears that your prayer was not answered, there's a verse in the Holy Quran that says, I give life, God speaking, and I am the ultimate cause of death. And he says, no soul dies but by my permission. So since he permitted this womb to give life to him, he has every right to call that life in when that life has run its course, even though we would want him to be here longer, the God said, you must come in now. And as I saw the tears of the family, as I listened to my brother here give us the chronological commentary of the last hours of my brother and our brother's life, as I saw the tears and heard the cries of the women of the family, and tears in your eyes and tears in my eyes, I knew that a wise God had called him in. And mother, and all of you who were with him, and I say blessed to be with him in those final hours, you saw something that you might not have understood exactly what you were looking at. You saw a man at peace with God and at peace with himself. And you have no way, listen to me good, mama, you have no way of knowing how God was communicating to his servant in those final hours, where that servant could forgive and say thank you to everybody who did something to help him. You couldn't see the angels who were there to escort him back to his sender, because his work on earth had been accomplished. Now, what was that work? I'm here in this wonderful church that we preach Christ as the Redeemer. Well, if you put something in the pawn shop, you have the ticket. Right. But at some point, if you want to redeem, you have to pay a price for redemption. You see, you talk Jesus, but sometimes you're blind to see a man who walked Jesus. So when I talk to you, I want to lift all discomfort from your hearts, because this is a great man who experienced hell. And only one who went to the depth of hell is qualified to ascend to the heights of heaven. And this is why Jesus had to descend into hell before he could ascend into heaven. Stan Tookie Williams was 17 years of age, and he founded the Crips. Well, the enemy co-founded, thank you. The enemy is always watching for leadership that will arise among black people, because the government of the United States has a denial objective, and that is that black people should never organize effectively, because it is only by organizing effectively that you can change the reality under which we live. So they saw in Stan Tookie Williams a potential threat. Strong, muscular, fearless, a warrior. He told me when I was blessed to meet him, and I didn't meet him except through Sister Barbara and Dwayne Moody. They came to my hotel room and played me a tape. Okay. And I heard his voice. And tears welled up in my eyes because I knew what I was listening to. See, when you are directed by the Spirit of God, you know those who are directed by that same Spirit. So I then had to go to San Quentin to see my brother. I've been looking at black men for 50 years playing games. I should by now know one who ain't playing no game. Stan was as sincere and committed and a redeemed soul. Now to mama, to son, to sister, to family, look. There's preachers up on this rostrum. And I don't care how well we preach. You can't make your son what you are. You may feel the anointing of the Spirit of God, and you may sit down with your Bible and teach your children. But unless God steps in the picture and touches that boy and touches that girl, you will not see a transformation in that life. How could a man be sentenced to death in a hellhole like San Quentin, in solitary confinement for years? Why did you put him there, God? I wanted him to discover me, and I wanted him to discover the real self of Stan Tookie Williams. So without preacher intervention, you didn't hear me? Without preacher intervention, without family intervention, without friend intervention, God stepped in and touched this man, and a transformation began to take place in the man you knew as the co-founder of the Crips. But he became Stan, the man, the resurrected man, Stan the man, Stan the redeemed man, Stan the man, a man that would lead his people in a better way. Why did you take him, God? As my brother, my dear brother, was so blessed, and I feel so special to listen to you recount the hours. I was so moved because I was watching Stan as I listened to this friend of his discuss the final hours. And I said to myself, he will be greater in death than he ever was in life. And so, family, dear family, look, I want to bring you for this, the last few minutes of my so-called eulogy. I want to bring you to Jesus personally, because he was an innocent man. But he was an innocent man with a word in his mouth that threatened the political powers and the religious powers of his day. Stan didn't claim religion.
That's right.
Because he saw the divisiveness in religion. He saw the hypocrisy in religion. He saw the hatred produced by people who claim the love of God. How can you claim to love God and be a Christian or be a Muslim or be a Jew, and then you are killing and hating and destroying one another when all the prophets came from the same God? All recognize the same Father. Stan Tookie Williams outgrew religion.
Yeah. Whoa. Hey, that. Man.
Excuse me if I don't mean to step on any toes, but he outgrew religion that restricts, confines, narrows the focus. And he wanted to take on the wings of an eagle and fly high so he could see broader, wider, deeper. And when Snoop met him, Snoop met a profound mind in a physical body. He touched my brother. That was a magnificent poem, Snoop. And you know, Snoop, you a magnificent man. And I tell you something, brother. See the mantle. You know, when Elisha was with Elijah. And Elisha said to Elijah, you know, if I can see you ascend, would you give me a double portion of your spirit? And he was there. And he saw his master ascend, and what he asked for, he got. I heard a different Snoop today. I heard a Snoop that in the name of Tookie Williams will help, and we will help you create the movement in his noble name. That man was touched by a supreme power. And any of us that were ever in his presence, we knew that. Whether we were Christian or Muslim or Jewish or black or white or Hispanic or of no particular religious persuasion, we knew when we met him. We met a man profoundly moved by higher principles. So, Jesus, when he angered the authorities, they said, we got to get him. How can we get him? Well, we got to have some false witnesses. Why would you snitch on your brother to lighten your sentence for what you did? Why would you let them use you like that? It is because you have no love for yourself, no love for your people. So you can be used like that. There were some people around Jesus like that. They were false witnesses. Naturally, when the Sanhedrin saw that Jesus was doing things on the Sabbath that didn't seem quite right to them, they used the law to trap Jesus. And Jesus, being wise, he said, well, I didn't come to change the law. I came to fulfill it. But he was letting the Sanhedrin of that day know that a fulfiller don't look like the man that's preaching it. Come on. A fulfiller lives it and then closes the book on it. Come on, man. Yes, sir. Man. Well, they brought him before a governor. They kind of knew that he was innocent, but it was a political thing. So he washed his hands of the matter and allowed him, an innocent man, to be crucified. Barbara Becknell and your sister in arms, two women who were there watching brother. Come on. See, there was two women around Jesus along with his mother. And there was a faithful disciple named John. He was there too. All the rest of them had run away. Man, teach the book. So then they hung him up. But look, he beheld his mother. Woman, behold your son. Mary and Martha, they were there. And he went through excruciating torture. Not for 35 minutes, but for many, many hours. And then he looked with compassion on his tormentors. And he said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And Stanley Tookie Williams said, I forgive the political governor who didn't have the courage to wash his hands of the matter. But his early anger switched immediately to compassion. I forgive him. The violence must stop. And there he laid on that gurney in the form of a cross. That's right. Resolved like the master, knowing that death would never touch him. He strained to sit up, to lift his head up, to look at his friends and smile. Wanted to let you all know it's all right. Now let me close this